Hello and welcome to Mile High Reefers. I'm Scott Anderson, and today I want to talk about Xenia coral. Xenia coral is really cool. For some of you, it's probably the bane of your existence as this stuff can get way out of control. For some of you, you just can't keep it and it's incredibly frustrating. But for 80% of you, this is one of the coolest corals you can have in your tank. So come check it out. I keep a large colony of Xenia coral on its own rock in my tank. I keep it on its own rock because this stuff has a tendency to spread. If you place the Xenia directly on the rock structure, it will spread out over everything. Xenia can literally take over full reefs. If you look at my wife's 5-gallon nano tank, she has it directly on the rock structure. And you can see how it's grown onto the back of the tank. That is a look she's going for. But to keep the Xenia under control, she constantly has to go in and prune the Xenia back. This is a good thing if you like frags, but you also risk damaging the coral in the process. Xenia also have another very interesting method of replication. Instead of growing out onto the surrounding rocks, when the rock they're on becomes full, like the island I showed you earlier, they will actually bud off, and that bud will then float around inside the tank and land somewhere and attach to that. If you catch it soon enough, this is cool because you got a free frag. If you didn't catch it soon enough, you've got Xenia in places you didn't want it. I think it's safe to say that being too successful with a coral is a problem most of us would like to have. This large colony that you're looking at started off with 2 little Xenia polyps on it. I glued it on, and in a very short period of time, it has colonized this entire rock. It has budded off multiple times. I can pretty much get as much Xenia off of this rock as I would ever want. It's basically harmless to any of the corals around it. Potentially it releases small amounts of toxins, but carbon will absolutely take care of that. But it can also hold its own against other soft corals. As you can see, mine is sitting right next to a large Sinularia and a large devil hand leather, and it's doing fantastic. Xenia can handle a wide range of water conditions. They actually prefer lower water flow. In fact, the lower the water flow, the better for these guys. The pulsing that you see is not a feeding mechanism. The pulsing you see is actually the coral pushing water around itself, which is why it does so well in low water flow. That's not to say that it can't handle higher water flows, but given the choice, it will absolutely prefer low flow. For placement in the tank, I keep mine on the bottom on its own little island. But in the past, I've kept it up high under high light and high water flow. I've kept it down low in lower light and lower water flow. And pretty much everywhere I put this coral, it is always done well. One of the more interesting uses for Xenia is to actually put it in your refugium. And it grows so fast that it can actually be used as a nutrient removal tool. And I've done this and it worked really well until it was smothered by algae. Xenia kind of gets that reputation as a coral that maybe some of you more advanced hobbyists don't like. And I've loved this stuff. It's great. What other coral can move on its own? What other coral grows that fast? Now, unfortunately, for some of you, for whatever reason, you can't keep it. I've seen this stuff grow in high nitrates or low nitrates, high phosphates or low phosphates. And when I've seen it, I mean, I've personally done it. It's grown under high light, it's grown under low light, it's grown under high water flow, it's grown under low water flow. And yet, some people just can't keep it. For me, it can be almost a weed. So that's why it's on a little island. But it has so much personality. And we're talking about a coral having personality. I love that. So anyways, thanks for watching this episode of Mile High Reefers. I love showing off my favorite corals, my favorite fish. So if you like seeing them, hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.